Okay, we're looking at the Spiegler LSL Superbike handlebar upgrade for the VFR. This is an 07. Installed the upgrade about 3 months ago. It's been in the garage for the most part because right now it's about 20 degrees and I haven't had much riding weather, but from what I have and what I've actually got out on the road with, I really like the upgrade. It's exactly what the VFR needs. However, I feel that the handlebars themselves actually are called a sport low bar, and in that they feel still too low. You still get a little bit of work in your triceps. The wrist pain, hand pain, it's pretty much gone. The angles are a little less optimum on the lean though. You tend to feel it across your hand a little bit after about a good 45 minutes to an hour. It's actually almost like a pressure across the middle of your hand, and for that reason I would suggest getting the high bar in place of the low bar. Price is the same, and even the optional anodized gold plating is the same too. So with that said, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the actual installation. In the start of the video I showed you the side view. Basically I went across the tops, the forks, to show you, so when you're looking at it through a camera yourself, you can actually line it up that way and see where you go. And with that said, I'd like to say that the Spiegler kit is it's amazing. As far as the kit itself, you have separated clamps. You have 2 clamps that go over the forks left and right. They have a pinch bolt setup. It's pretty easy to access to. Then you have the riser, which is this piece that runs, right here, from here to here. There's 2 bolts. One's here, one's actually hidden underneath the bar. You set the bar in there, basically, and these are loose when you go to do this at first. And you set the bar in, and then these kind of level out. And you tighten those up. Of course, your risers are already going to be tightened to clamps. And then you just set the caps on there and you tighten up the caps. I would note that when you do this, you're going to want to mark what feels about right, because when you tighten up the caps, let me jump on here real quick, you're going to have to figure out exactly what feels good as far as a grip. You can rotate it, down or up, and you're just basically going to want to sit there and push your hand against it and feel that, because it's made to be adjustable to your liking. People with different heights are going to be up and down over the bike a little bit more, so that will change, and that's why LSL, I feel, did not do that. And again, the bar is the AN1, LN1. They'll give you either one. It's the same specification. Good, forgive me here, my hands are freezing up. It's about 20 degrees out here. What I did find on the instructions, and I don't have them with me at the moment, but big issue. As you see, I don't have a plastic inner fender lining, or whatever you want to call it, there at the bezel. But these throttle cables that come on the VFR are just long enough to cross behind the steering stem and so forth, and route down to where they attach to the throttle assembly. When you put this bar on, it's about 1.5 inches short, or at least 1 inch short when stretched. I found that there's no way to route it in the stock position and still make it work. And I found that according to LSL, somehow you're supposed to route it through here. I've still yet to been able to figure that out. So what I did instead is I just took off that panel and just let them lay like that. And that actually works out, as you can see. One thing while I am turning this, you do get a slight bit of contact. It's not much of anything, but you do rub. And it's not much of anything that really causes a problem because I don't have any marking. And the master cylinder top is pretty smooth around and it probably won't leave anything. There's some give in that windscreen, so it's okay. As far as what it takes to pull everything apart, well, let me discuss one other thing too. Your brake lines right here. What you're going to do is you're just going to loop them down like this. In the factory position, these brake lines and the clutch lines and everything, they come like this. They go around in between the stem and the fork. They just come around and they loop back like this to where they go and disconnect. What you're going to have to do is pull out this bolt, this banjo fitting. First draining the cylinder, you can actually get a towel and dip it in there and take out all the fluid, suck it up under that towel. And then undo this and put a rag around the bottom of it and basically just take it and bring it back around here and still holding that rag so the fluid doesn't leak out of it. Go ahead and hook it back up. This is probably the first thing you want to do before you take anything apart. That way you can kind of keep this all in one thing. Hook it back up, and then you're going to want to disconnect this. And then there's two Phillips fasteners in here. There's one here, I think there's one on the other side. You pull that apart. This is a two-piece assembly, and it's just like the one on the left as well. They mirror each other. This is for the throttle. What you're going to want to do is you're going to pull this apart and separate it, and then pull this off. You need to pull the fastener off here first, and that's a Phillips, and it comes out. Now I've reused the factory Honda ones, and I'll discuss that in a moment. This all slides off. Same thing to the left, and the same thing applies on the brake lines too, or on the clutch line. That all comes out, and then you just basically put the bar in as I discussed earlier, and then you slide everything on. One big thing, and you have to get this right, make sure your feel is right, and you want that bar the way it is, because there are detents that hold these things from rotating like this. There's metal detents. It's like a dowel. You have to drill this bar at that same OD size as that dowel, and that's how it lines up. Because all those two fasteners do, two Phillips do, is just basically draw these together. That dowel lines it and keeps it from rotating. And that's very important, especially on the throttle, because if you don't do that, this whole assembly will rotate when you're using the throttle. So that's a safety measure, and it needs to be there. I don't believe it says that in the instructions, and the instructions were extremely vague. But again, you do need to do that. Other than that, there really isn't much to this kit. It's pretty simple. I think it took me about 2 hours to install it, and that was just taking my time and playing around with the throttle cable linkage and so forth. I did route the throttle cable down through the area in here, and that was a little bit involved, because what I had to do was I had to actually loosen it from the throttle assembly linkage down here, and I had to route it back up through there, come out from in between there, bring it back underneath here, and then route it back around up under here and work it down around the air box. It actually comes through right here inside of this frame. It's not on the outside, it's on the inside, and it's towards the air box. I think it actually goes underneath of it, and it goes right to the linkage, which I believe is about right here. And with that said, that's pretty much the gist of it and everything. So I'm going to warm up here, go inside, and come back out, install the high bar, and show you the difference. And you'll see it's pretty nice, and it's a lot more comfortable. Okay.